Welcome back to another episode of Duel Alliance with myself, Alicia Solomon, and Megan Hines, where we discuss the challenge. We're on season 39, episode 14, and we brought back one of our favorites. Just like the challenge did this week, we have brought back Grant to talk about this disruptive episode of the challenge, which finally we've gotten a little bit more drama in terms of this huge alliance that's been taking over this whole house. We got a return of a champ, CT, who we all love. Do you love CT? Grant, hold on. Let me check the temperature.
Yeah, now because that's the thing. He's done it right too. He makes you excited when he does return because you don't see him that often anymore. He's one of the ones that understand too much of you on TV can be it can be a detriment to you. The more I see you, the more I might not like you. So him not being on my TV as often, I'm excited he's back. But yeah, I like CT. I like CT before this season.
Okay. Well, we got the return of CT, and we got in the fall of someone who I was not expecting, but the tears, I mean, it literally was like gold falling out of their eyes when they were crying. The tears that happened when this person left, I couldn't have been more excited. Y'all couldn't have been more excited. I feel like as a collective unit, one band, one sound, it really just, I feel, brought everything together for us, just because it's been 14 weeks of nonsense, and I feel like this week it kind of just reigned supreme that we lost someone who I'd love to see them leave.
They can go back to the pit crew.
For real, because I can't say his confessionals. Oh my God. That shit was the hardest part about getting through the episodes, because they would stick him in like too much. It'd be one thing if they put one in, but they would put his little stupid corny confessionals in there at least probably 3 or 4 times every episode. And then he's a loser. Like, I couldn't stand how he was doing Melissa, like sitting there like playing in her face. And then if you could do that and be like shady behind the scenes, but he was just so weird with it. I'd have had to hit him in his face if I was in that out.
Not a pop.
Oh my God, he got on my nerves. He would have him and Jay, both of them. We'll get on Jay in a minute though.
Yeah. Before we get to the downfall of that man from the pit crew, we're gonna get to the start of the episode where we already know Kylan, the champ slayer, is back in the house, and he knows that like winning is the only way for him to have safety. And if he can save his best friend, ally, and Horacio in the house, he could. But it just has to, be the right moment, right time, because at this point you can't save all your friends. But it's only he can try and save Horacio. That's like a point that he can try and make, but with people that we saw obviously in this episode, it falters because they think of that man as a threat and an easy option.
Kylan and Brad. Why they bring Brad back last week? Brad looked sick last week, and he need to get rid of that beard.
Bananas was busy. Like
they could have picked anybody else but Brad.
I mean,
because Brad he don't have a reputation. I like Brad too, but he don't have a reputation of being like this beast in the eliminations. If anything, I'm trying to think who would, not Derek, even though Derek does perform pretty decently in eliminations, but he gets on my nerves too. I'm trying to think who they could have brought back. But Brad made no noise. Like when he was the only one that walked out there and they didn't do nothing. When it was like, okay, somebody's here.
They were like, who? I'm like, I kind of know this guy, sort of, kind of, but not really. It fell super short.
Very random. I know in my head, I was like, it would have gagged all of us left, the challenge if they pulled Landon. But that's a long shot because we haven't seen him in a long time.
That's perfect. Even though does Landon really have a reputation of being like a beast in elimination? But his reputation in terms of him as a challenger speaks for itself. So yeah, Landon would have been perfect.
But aside from that, Jay got a new plan apparently, and because Kai and Horacio didn't go home last week, he still has a chance of taking another shot at them. However, they know that the members are straying over to that side anyway, so it's like whoever shoots first, you gotta like connect on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like we have like the wreath already being romantically linked to Horacio. Olivia surprised me this episode too, because she's like, I'm still gonna ride Horacio. I'm like, I'm switching. But you played the middle. She confused me this episode so much.
Olivia is. I told you this a couple weeks ago when we discussed Olivia in detail on what's probably going on upstairs with her. What I think now is that she realized Horacio is not switching and he's not coming off of Nerys, essentially. She has to either get on board with what he's doing or get left. And she realizes that because now once he told her, listen, I'm riding for you. I still have your back. You're part of my like number one people in this house. Like, I don't have anything for you. Like, that's it. And didn't say anything else. There was no follow-up. There was no soothing. There was no reassurance after that. Olivia probably realized, like, oh shit, I just been making shit up this whole time in my head. And now I have to just realize, get on board with what Horacio's doing in Nerys or get lost, because they're all now turning the tides with everyone else in the house in terms of Raven. Now you have Colleen who's playing Moline. You have other people who are also coming onto their side and making sure, like, hey, why are we helping Jay and Michelle be self-serving in this house? For the past 13 weeks, you have all aided in helping Jay and Michelle win their game when they haven't done a single thing. They've won 3 challenges. Michelle, this is her first daily challenge win this whole season.
Mm-hmm.
They won 3 challenges out of the last 10. 3 out of 10. These people are scoring out of just winning. So why is it every single week we come on the show and we talk about Jay and Michelle having an alliance and who they're protecting when everyone else has been doing the protecting for them? Olivia realized, hey, I'm not in this crew. I got to hop on board with Horacio and him help me get to the final like he did last season, or I'm getting left.
Clock it.
And that's just the bottom line. Like, she realized, and the way that she was sitting in the pool listening to Nerys and Horacio, it was so cringe. It was so cringe because it's just like, you want that to be you so bad, and it's not.
She is a hater, and you said I completely agree with everything you said. But just to add on to it, like, she is so funny too, because it's like all she had to do was just lay low. Because you was she, like Mariah said later on in the episode, she was covered. Like, ain't nobody been saying your name. You ain't won no daily challenge. Has she won a daily challenge? I don't think she's won a daily challenge at all.
Last week was her first.
Okay, 13 episodes.
Like, come on.
What, 13 weeks?
Come on.
You ain't been touched. You ain't had no power. Nobody's even mentioned your name as somebody to even throw into elimination. And then you mad because Nerys stole what you thought was yours from underneath you, and you feel threatened. And then it's funny because every time she on the TV, she spent half the beginning half of the season with Mariah's name in her mouth. Now she's spending the last half of the season with Nerys' name in her mouth. So it's just like, you just messing up your own game because you just jealous and you a hater. And then she's trying to get Horacio out because of Nerys, just like she's trying to get James out because of Mariah. It's just like, why are you so upset? Because if she was in that position, I guarantee you she would have been doing the same stuff that Nerys and Mariah was doing.
Yep, because she just want to be part of a group and she just left out. And it's like, well,
she ain't got nobody.
No, because Manuel has a girlfriend. Because we know he was like signed up under.
Yeah, that monkey ain't stopped that show. We've already seen how Emmanuel got down with Colleen and Raven and Olivia. So,
and didn't he try to pass it with Melissa too?
Yes.
At least from what Melissa
the girl
said.
at home. But listen, Emmanuel clearly beats to his own drum. We already see how he moves, but I feel like Olivia
Mm-hmm.
has been very moving insecure in this house, and especially because she doesn't have anyone to cling to. Like Mariah's found James, Maurice has found Horacio, she has found her nose is healed. I don't know. Like she's just there chilling. So she don't have anybody. She don't have Nelson. She don't have anybody in there to cling to say like, oh, I found
Mm-hmm.
somebody. And it's kind of like it's eating at her because it's probably the first show that she's been on, but she's experienced this. Like Love Island is a different experience. Her first season really was an anomaly in terms of how she got to the final and was even with, someone in the house. So this season it's probably completely different for her playing, and it just shows like she has been the most of a non-factor that I've ever seen coming off of a finals and of a rookie season. Like she's just really just there.
Which is
Yeah,
crazy how they promoting her. They're using her for promotions when she's not even a fix. She's not a prime fixture on this show, and she's without a doubt one of the most overrated challengers to ever play this game. Because
but
like
she
what you
doesn't.
said, Horacio is the reason she has the clout that she has. Because she rode his coattails. Everything that happened was because of him. She just
And
benefited
she
from
don't
it.
move. She hasn't moved the needle for me. Like she was like I at this point she hasn't had at least any sway of people to make moves. Like we've been literally watching the Jay Michelle show all season. Olivia hasn't made any moves for
Mm-hmm.
her own self and her own game, but that's what it is. But we get into the dating challenge, and we get the mini final, which shows if you're actually fit to run an actual final, and it's called Off in the Distance, where this will be played in teams of four, and the teams will carry a pole and race down a trail to three different checkpoints and complete each checkpoint to like bags of puzzle pieces. And once done at each checkpoint, they have to take it back to the starting point where they do the puzzle. And the first team to complete all checkpoints, collect the pieces, and complete the puzzle will win this daily and have power. The teams were Notorious Curse team in Corey, Raven, Berna, and Emmanuel. The yellow team had Jay, Ed, Colleen, and Maurice. Orange team had Kylan, Michelle, Mariah, and James. And the blue team in Zara, Olivia, Horacio, and Asaf. And I just want to say off top, Kylan had a team of ops on his team, and I hated that for him.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. But in terms of somebody running, because Mariah, she won that mini final last season. Michelle, we ain't really seen. Yeah, we ain't seen her run a final. And then James, who was James loyal to? Because I don't think he really loyal to Mariah. So yeah, you're right. That is a bunch of ops, and all of them said his name. So
This is the second time we've seen Kylan be teamed with Mariah and Michelle. And so is there going to be sabotage happening again? We don't know. Like Michelle just, I don't know. She wakes up and decides if she wants to sabotage or not. But it's very questionable being teamed with those two people, specifically for Kylan, who has had the target on his back for the past however many weeks.
Yeah, and then with like the blue team, that was like an evenly matched team for the most part of like their allegiances. For the most part, if they had the power, I feel like Zara, Olivia, and Horacio would have overridden Asaf. We would have got a different situation. Because they were actually ahead for like a good portion of this daily.
For the whole damn daily until they got to do math, and then all of a sudden nobody knew what a square was, and they don't know how many squares are on the board that they're seeing, that they don't know how to figure out this math problem. And then everyone just started to come in and lap them, which I was disappointed to see that, because Horacio, this is your chance. You want to be a champ. You want to put your head down and win and not looking at anybody. Like you want to have this kind of Mamba mentality, the way you move, and you just are so laser focused on doing what you're doing. But this is a part of the game too. You have to know how to use your head and see anagrams and see, you know, what is in front of you, and then also get a number. And I feel like they weren't even doing what Corey and Raven did, essentially, when they came in on their team. I think Raven said some astronomical number, and Corey was like,
1,000.
listen, girl, like, we got a number here that 10 times 39 is 390. So where are you going with this number? We don't know, but it has to be somewhere in the range of what's going on over here. And I said, Raven, like I told you before, Megan is a bird brain that I can't figure her out. Like, she's something don't compute with me for Raven. But all right, sis, you get that Columbia degree. I don't know what you're doing over there, but go ahead. But yeah, I feel like Horacio, he never used like part of elimination. Like, he didn't use that analytical part of his brain. And then Olivia, of course, is riding his coattails. Zara, not sure what kind of math they doing over there in the UK. She was useless. And who else was on the team?
Asaf.
Useless. So I feel like it wasn't helping Horacio. And this was something where he needs to stick it up, because this is an individual game at the end of the day. So you can lap everyone from Timbuktu, but if you don't know how to do math, if you don't know how to do these puzzles, you ain't gonna win nothing. And that's where Horacio needs to pick it up. But it was actually really funny to see how they got lapped, because everyone came, the last team to get there, which was Jay, Colleen, Nerese, and Ed, ended up leaving first and hitting the last checkpoint of a puzzle. I'm just like, dude, what
crazy?
What y'all doing this whole time? And they on the sand, they doing math, they got little fake chalk, they hitting the boards, but the numbers ain't adding up.
Right. Yeah, all of that. And then on paper you would think, because Horacio don't strike me as somebody that's stupid. And then same with Zara. And then you look at the two of them, as they were the two reasons as to why their team was in the lead as long as they were. They set the pace for their team the whole time, and you already know them two can run. So when it comes to, and that's the thing too, you would think essentially, well, no, I take that back. I was sitting here thinking about it. I was going to say, you would think Olivia and Asaph, you would have thought they would have been able to pull away on the number side. But neither of them strike me as mathematicians, so yeah, I guess not.
None of them give me Albert Einstein. Sorry.
Especially Asaf when we get to him in that elimination. Because that man don't know prime numbers to save his life.
It's just so sad.
But
oh Lord.
After they all got to the puzzle, Orange Team made it first, and Michelle was very excited to see this puzzle because she did it on her season of Survivor, and that was a game-changing challenge for her to get into like her win that year. And they were really working at a good pace. Colin was like looking over, making sure things are right. When the yellow team got done, quote unquote, Jay was like, yes, let's go. He was like, I'm coming for your Colin and Horacio. He's very excited. He's like, TJ, sound the buzzer. We're good. We're good. Peter's like, that's incorrect. I was like, that's what you get.
I had a ball. I was so happy watching him thinking that he won. Just to be told, nah, do it again.
Listen, when he said that, I was like, because he was going off. He's like, the look on Colin's face, he looks so dejected. And I finally get the chance to be, winning a mini final and all this other nonsense. And it was just all for nothing, which seems to be Jay's MO, is talking and it comes out of nothing, essentially.
And he got carried in his only mini final win too. Teresa carried his ass in that.
I don't think he remembers that.
Got this. He don't. Jay got this. You could tell Jay thinks that because there's no top dogs that's normally been there, the vets that have normally been there, he in his mind is bananas of the season. And it's going to be great to hopefully watch his downfall, because with ASAP going home, hopefully that starts to show the rest of the house a little bit of something that you need to start shooting at him.
Yeah. But the orange team got Kylan and the orange team at the last laugh because they ended up finishing out the puzzle first. and got it correct. Um, and they win this daily, and I was so excited. But I was like, I'm worried, like, hey, who the hell did I pick? And with Kylan not having majority, and it just so happened that they picked Horacio.
Surprise, surprise. I was just over it, like whatever. I think Kylan obviously using that part of the game saying, you know what, they're already going to choose Horacio anyway if this is a house vote, so you might as well just pick him now so to get it over with so that they can turn on themselves, which that plan ultimately did work in some weird kind of way because we saw what happened, but it's just exhausting to see them keep picking the same people over and over again, and Kylan really not having any, majority power in that situation to even help Horacio in any kind of way.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
and
was
that
like,
sucks because it's like, go ahead.
no, because I was thinking like, well, he only has really three allies. Horacio does, and like Kylan, Maurice, and Olivia. And it's very funny to me that like when James started talking about the reason why we're putting Horacio back in because like he's a threat to us in the final, Maurice popped up with like, well, there's other people in there that there are options. Y'all can't just keep picking this man every single time. Like, you not notice it's still chaos? He has a chance to come back and beat your ass in the final.
And Horacio, he made me mad in that scene because you supposed to be defending your girl. Didn't James tell Nerys to shut up or something in that whole little situation? He didn't do nothing but like, calm down, calm down. I'd have cussed his ass. But that's what was tripping me out because he was out there, and at that point, she's defending you, so you need to jump in and defend yourself at this point because essentially you don't have nothing to lose. These people don't like you. Can clearly see these people don't want you here. So for me, I'd have did it, and we all know Kylan would have the way Kylan was a menace with ASAP a couple, probably 3-4 episodes ago,
Right.
where Asaf ended up thinking that he started talking about his mama, and he didn't say nothing about his mama. Like Kylan needs to give some of that energy to Horacio.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was just misplaced energy. And Nerys, I'm glad you finally have decided to step up and see what's happening in front of you and how they're choosing other people. However, I'm going to have to call BS on this just because it's your man. And now all of a sudden you feel so strongly about this. But what happened every other time when they were picking the same people and you were like, yeah, Fantastic Four. Yeah, my alliance. Yeah, my loyalty. Like, I feel like it's all just self-serving for Nerys at this point because it's Horacio. I get it. And I'm here for it because, yes, it is true. We are tired of seeing them pick the same people. But however, you already know Horacio isn't going to say anything. So you decided to say something, especially to James, who literally has just been Mariah's lapdog this whole season. We don't even care about this. Like, please, James just had an opportunity to say something and he finally decided to speak up on the show.
I was just like,
Right.
he don't give nothing. James don't give nothing, which is very funny to me. Cause like this man only flopped out on his own season. Now comes in here, fully protected by Mariah. She's like, y'all not touching this man. And he decides, oh, I don't want to see that man in the final. We didn't even see you in the final on your own season. That's your own doing.
We didn't see you on episode 2. Like you were only on the first episode. You didn't even make it out of the first challenge. You didn't even make it into an arena until you came over here and then you started huffing and puffing because you were playing tic-tac-toe. Like, James, I get it, but let's stop. Let's I feel like the power got a little too much for him and the shoulders got a little too the neck. It's just like, come on now. What are we doing here? It's too much going on.
When you just said his neck, I just had to flash back to No Neck Johnny Middlebrooks because
yeah, it's pretty. At least Johnny could actually compete. And James ain't shown no type of that elimination that he had. Still cracks me up how he was so winded the whole elimination. So like James is he just big for nothing. He is the perfect example of big for nothing.
He can join Derrick Henry in that club. I'll put him with him.
Very accurate.
But I was also very surprised that James actually like kept up in this mini final, like given his recent history. So I was like, good for keeping up at least. So They have Horacio at the vote, and TJ's like, well, I gotta be swayed for whoever y'all are picking anyway, so we'll see how y'all figure this out. But the question I have, who was going to be the house vote? Because this is where people are trying to now figure out who would be in the pickings for the house vote. Michelle and Olivia were trying to count votes for only two specific people, and Ed and Emmanuel, because they're not touching Jay obviously. They're not gonna touch Asaf, which is weird, and they're also not gonna touch Corey. Interesting. But y'all gonna put in the two people that are not in that core of that alliance. Like y'all can go. Y'all finally thought about that at this point in the game. Like y'all couldn't have done that like early in the game.
They literally are the same. They're a carbon copy of what we've been watching the last couple seasons. They just don't want to. In their minds, they don't see it, but they literally do. They literally do and act the same way. Their gameplay is literally the same. They pick one person and throw them in every single chance they can until they go home. And then the people that they are best friends with, they try to stick it to the end. And that shit is annoying, which is why they got me rooting for Nerese. That's why they got me rooting for Kylan and Horacio. And low key Mariah too, because Mariah, I don't even include her in that because Mariah, you can tell Mariah's playing her own game, and I respect that. The rest of them I don't respect because they playing for Jay and Michelle.
Right. This is basically the Vacation Alliance manifesting itself into people who have benefited from that Vacation Alliance the seasons that they were on the show. And basically, this is how they've learned to play the game, which is a terrible way to play the game, which is what we've been complaining about for the past 3 to 4 seasons. And so now they have an opportunity because they're the only people there that have quote unquote played the game for multiple seasons. And this is the product of it, which it's like we don't want to see. And which I said, like, the way that Jay and Michelle have been self-serving this whole season in terms of having other people do their dirty work for them. Now Michelle doesn't even have an opportunity to vote. Why are you still counting votes, girl? You don't even have a vote. So it's no need for you to sit with Olivia to conspire about who's going to vote for what and who's doing what. Girl, you don't matter. You don't have that pull. But because for so long all of the people in the house were running behind whatever she said or whatever Jay said, she feels so powerful that she has to sit down and talk about it. It's like, it's whatever. And Ed, I told you, Megan, Ed has just been here on the show just vibing. Him and his cheetah shirt have been vibing this whole time, really ain't been doing nothing. And he could be more than what he is, but he's sitting up there playing around, being under Jay and Michelle's alliance. Like, if he was smart, he would have been teamed up with Horacio and Kylan and would have turned the house over a long time ago and would have made some power moves. But he's playing it safe. So this is what he gets. What I found funny is how he clocked how Corey was not a part of this. And he was like, didn't Corey do all of this mess early on in the season? And now all of a sudden, y'all are protecting Corey. Hello. Thank you, Ed. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show that we have been watching. Okay. This is what, like, this doesn't even make any kind of sense.
That's a testament to Corey's game, though. Corey, the way he done kind of slithered his way into somebody's alliance to where he ain't really being said, to the fact that we're going to get to it, but I'm going to just say it anyway. The fact that he felt comfortable enough to burn a vote on himself, that tells you everything you need to know. He knows that he's covered. He knows that he can do that. And you see what happened?
Yep, because he had issues with Michelle early in the game. He was like, that's my girl. That's my number one person in his house. As long as I'm connected to her and she has me and I have her, I'm set. And that's what happened after the big team was stuff. Like, once, like, he got through with that, he like, I'm just going to go back right under Michelle. We're in good graces. I'm good. I'm chilling. And that's what he's been, like, harping with for the past couple weeks, ever since they left. So that's just where he's been sitting, and his position has been sitting pretty. Like, he's like Asaf. Like, because Asaf is Jay's number one guy. Aside from Jay, Michelle is Corey's next up. So that's where he fits in that alliance. That's why he's quote unquote like safe at this point. We're the point where they can put in Emmanuel and Ed because they're not as close to them. They're not their number ones. And obviously, in that group, Emmanuel is the biggest threat, so they should have thrown a shot at him earlier, which would have been a smart move before. But now they're like, oh, now that we know like where like things are at the bottom of our group, well, might as well. Y'all are stupid. Now every week I ever say it, but y'all are stupid.
They are, and he's another one. Him and Olivia, they one and the same. I be forgetting he even there. Like he is so like he's about as I don't even know what the next thing you would call a sub character, but he's worse than Colleen, and that's how you
Wow,
get
that's
worse than
saying something.
Colleen.
That is saying something because, I mean, he definitely is like a D-list character on the show. Like, it's very much to the point where he is last on anyone's list to do anything.
Like how you cheating on your wife and or cheating on your girlfriend, and you making no noise on the show, and you still boring. Like what? You have a whole cheating scandal with multiple women, and you still boring on the show. That is crazy to me.
That's unheard of.
Like at least with Colleen, even though like she's doesn't do much, when she has her moment, she's like, I'm gonna lock in and clock in real quick to do something, but doesn't do anything. Emmanuel was just sitting there, just like going with the flow. Colleen was just like entertaining stuff, seeing where the women blow, and then she decided, okay, I'm not gonna do this and this. Whereas Emmanuel, he's just been sitting pretty because like they don't want to see him in the final, or he's just there because like they're not worried about him. But also, Asaf tried to talk some sense into Nerese at the club about the Fantastic Four, and I'm like, sure, this is done. Like this Fantastic Four thing is over. It's been over since before Jay drew the line first when he drew the shots at people that she was also close with, and so it's like, this is over. They're not gonna make it far off for together because Asaf was the more expendable person in that group, anyways.
And then that bullshit where he was talking about something like, "Do you want to fall in love or do you want to be with your friends?" I'm like, shut up! Like you trying your hardest to make it seem like you know what you got going on and you know how to do this game, and you just sound stupid. Like I'd have looked at him in his face and laughed and been like, "Get out of my face." Because at this point, even though Horacio ain't got no kind of, he don't really have no pull in the house in terms of, because he just don't have much of a voice, honestly. But essentially, she better off sticking with Horacio and Kylan because at least they can win.
Yeah, that's
It'll come
probably
down to it.
the biggest upside for her in finding Horacio and being in that relationship, and now seeing how truly Jay and Michelle play the game. Like that's the biggest upside for her, because if she was to stick with the other two and the Fantastic Four, she would have gotten nowhere. But yeah, that's what he was holding on to this whole time, which made him even more entitled and delusional playing this game, thinking he was Geppetto. At one time, he said he was a puppet master. He was Asaf was making up stories and having a good old time on vacation away from his wife and child. That's what I take from it. Like he was just on vacation and living with a friend who he dearly loves. It's really crazy how Asaf played this game, and to see how he was speaking to people, how he was moving. I don't even know what to call it, because I don't think I've ever seen anything so blatantly not the case than whatever Asaf game was this season.
Yeah, because he was so protected just because he's best friends of Jay and Jay is his child's uncle. That's it. That's the only thing he could really say. Like he won some stuff, sure, but it wasn't for his own merit. It was other people. But we get into the nomination ceremony, and obviously Ed and Emmanuel's names are the ones that are being floated around. Kylan said the vote is actually about who's a threat and who's expendable. Michelle tried to say that's not what it is. But when she explained it, it's literally what he said. Like you can say, oh yeah, that's my friend and something else, but that's still the same idea that I'm going to vote for someone who's a threat, someone that's not my friend. That's the mindset that they all had.
Yeah. And it's like, even with them playing that game, they could literally own that and nobody would bat an eye. Because don't nobody in there got, the only person in there with a backbone, honestly, is Kylan, Raven, and I'll say Nerese now because she knows that these people in this house are punks and she can do whatever she wants with them. But like the rest of them, you ain't gotta hide what your true motives are. We know what y'all doing, and everybody can see it on the show, and I'm pretty sure they can see it in real time. It's just like own up to your moves, own up to the reason why you voting for who you voting for. I'd have been like, y'all can cut the shit. Just tell it to me. You don't like me and you want me gone. Just say that.
Yep. And Raven started off the vote with Emmanuel. Asaf gave his vote, the first vote, to Ed, and it was back and forth, either going between Ed and Emmanuel. So it ended up in a stalemate, 6-6 for both of them. Then they're like, we don't want a stalemate, so we're going to try this again. So they did a revote. And in the revote, like you said, Corey voted for himself, either burn vote. Ed was like, I'm seeing how this is. I'm just going to throw a shot at Jay, give him that one vote. And it still ended up in a stalemate because Emmanuel still got the same amount of votes. So we're going into the arena with a stalemate. First time this whole season we get a stalemate. And as viewers, you would know, we know that obviously it's CT. He's going to do something. We don't know because he had the chaos thing. But the way that they were just like, we don't do a stalemate. And Zara told him, told the guys, like, this is what y'all want to do? Sure, go ahead. Y'all gonna have consequences for this. And lo and behold, there was consequences for it.
Yeah,
It was a great one.
I think that Ed burning the vote essentially because Corey voted for himself, and then Ed saw like, listen, I'm not voting for Emmanuel here, so I'm gonna burn my vote, burn it onto Jay because he already knows the games that Jay's been playing, and let's continue to stalemate because I'm not gonna sacrifice myself. If I'm going down, the whole ship is coming down with me. I respect it, Ed. Like you got to play and make your moves at this point in time in the game because we've all seen how the game is being played, but it's like it's so late in the game. Like, why did it take this long for y'all to figure this out? Like, that was just frustrating because no one decided to play this game until the last week of chaos. Like, really, y'all waited until the last week to finally figure this out. And you know the purge is coming soon, where like half of y'all are going to be gone anyway. So you wasted all this time and all of this sacrifice and energy, basically for Jay and Michelle to have their game being played. It's sick, and I just wish it was a better gameplay. But shout out to Ed for essentially placing that last burn vote on Jay so that they can have a stalemate. Like, yeah, it's chaos. You don't know what's gonna happen, but listen, Ed said, "Y'all coming with me." Like my mom on that last, so y'all coming with me. Everybody coming with me. I'm not doing this by myself. Okay, everybody's coming along.
Literally.
Yep, and so. And it was funny too, after like seeing Jay and Michelle get very like annoyed and very like yelling at people, like, why would y'all do that? Jay blamed the girls for the vote being the way it was. And like he was like, I'm not worried about the guys. Like the guys was gonna do what they want to do. So you're not gonna track the guys for how they voted, but you're gonna track the girls for how they voted. Like you're more mad at Nerese and Olivia for the way they voted, but not the guys.
That's Jay for you. Jay's a punk. Like the way he set up in there, and I'm glad because he was trying to come at Nerese essentially when he was saying that, and then Olivia ended up checking him like, but they did it too, but you ain't saying nothing to them. And he's like, well, I did that for y'all when it was a girls' day. And it's just like, okay, and like I don't owe you anything. Essentially, yes, you did something that benefited me, but I don't owe you that. I'd have told him, okay, you did that because you wanted to. I just did what I did because I wanted to. Like, it is what it is.
And now he's more worried now, like, oh, they're telling me that they're asking me what airport am I going to fly out of. Well, it is what it is, sir.
You know what? I actually laughed at that out loud because I wanted him to go home so bad. The fact that he was so pissed, he was like, they just asked me what airport I had to go out of. How do you feel about that? Like he was trying to throw it back in her face. And I'm just like, I hope it's
I said,
anyone
did
that
you
gets
pick
you
your?
home quickly and fastly.
I'm sorry.
Burbank, LAX. I don't care which
Right.
one it is. Just get on a plane
I
and
would have
leave.
said, did you? I would have said, did you pick your aircraft yet?
I'm like, did you pick economy or so? Are you flying business class
Are
or?
you going first class, business class? What you doing?
Like either way,
Crybaby.
like either way, it was stalemate, and we're in chaos. So you could go home at either time. It's okay. Live with it. Like you're mad because it's the way you played the game, and how you played the game affects you in this week. So just deal with it, live with it. If you want to be the big bat of the season, you want to have the wealth, stand in it and take it on the chin. Don't be mad at people that you are friends with that don't go the way you wanted to go. Like, shut up. Don't throw a fit. Whenever I just watch it, I'm like, just shut up. Because you're acting like you don't know what you're playing and what you're doing right now.
Literally.
So we go to the arena, and it's just Horacio standing there by himself, chilling. And TJ tells him that the worst thing, obviously, that they could do is stalemate, and that this is also the worst thing y'all can do when there's a beast right in front of y'all to go against. The way that he kept saying, "I got a beast coming," I was like, and that's the best, like one of the best descriptors that you can say about CT. That he's a beast. Like he invokes
And they should have
fear,
known.
even when like you don't know it's him. Like that invokes some type of fear. Because like that's the only person you would think of with the challenge that like is a beast in the game.
And they should have known. They should have known when he kept saying that that's who was coming out there. If they didn't know, then I'm like, I don't know how you didn't know.
Yeah. And so he told him good luck. And the 19-time challenger, 5-time champion, no joke type of player, and Christopher CT Tamburello comes out with some crazy eyes in the chaos pole, just ready to switch things up for them because they couldn't do anything for themselves.
Yeah, I was so happy that he had that chaos hole. I mean, I noticed it from the first time he had the trailer, and then they had the chaos portion, and we saw what that ended up being. But I was like so happy just to see him back on the challenge screen. Like, now he's been on Traders. I've seen him here and there, but finally CT being back on the challenge, like a stopping ground that he has created for the past 20 years and really has made it his own. It's really good to see him back, and especially because Jay thinks he's some sort of spinoff of CT and Bananas and West and all of these guys that have been playing the game so long. So finally, someone who is true to the game, plays the game as it should be, and actually wins something, came back into the house. As for the body that he came back in, CT, you could get in the gym a little bit. Just a little bit, maybe lay off the beers. I don't know if it's just too much time off, because he was chomping at wanting to get on 40. And so, when he comes back to 40, because I know he will get that call, he probably would accept, because that's a big milestone number for the challenge. But come back in the CT shape that I know you to be in. I love CT down, but hey.
He
Wow.
been eating. He been
Eating
chilling and
good.
eating.
Eating good.
But
Okay.
what you said, pretty much what you said, is the same way I felt, and that's the way I felt when Cara Maria came on. I wasn't on here when y'all was talking about it, but when she came, and then the type of energy that he came with was a little bit more tame than what she came with. I just wish her outcome was a little bit different. But bringing those type of players like him, and bringing her, and bringing Laurel, that's what's needed on this show. You see, like certain people, like especially Cara Maria, hers was that impactful because, and y'all saw, I don't know if y'all saw, but they got like what 200, 300,000 more views that episode, and it was because of her. And she delivered on that episode. And it's just like you need certain people like them that don't be on these seasons repeatedly, that come back and still show you this is why we actually watch the show to begin with. People like her, people like him. So yeah, just his presence, being out there and that saying, you felt it. Like it was like, okay, we got a little bit of the old challenge back.
Wait, I do have a question for you, Grant. What was your reaction to orange shirt and purple jacket?
Funny as fuck. Because the way she went down the line, and what did she do? She asked them like she asked them pretty much who would they didn't she ask them like who would they send down there? And then Michelle was like trying not to say a name. She said, say a name. Say a name or it's gonna be you. And she couldn't say a name. Well, it's gonna be you if I do. I loved it. That's what you do. Like make that girl shake. And she was nervous too, because Michelle, like she has been all season, she low-key been running this game. Or high-key been running this game. So for somebody to come out here and literally show you ain't really what you think you are to these people. Like you got these people thinking that you top dog and that you really like you don't fold for anything. And I come out here, I don't know these people. I barely even know you, and I already got you folded, and I got you sitting here stuttering. So come on down here. I just wish you would have won. If she would have won, that would have been iconic. For her to come
Don't
back,
even mention it.
for her to come back, do that, win, and then leave with the 10K, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, because that puzzle was her downfall. But you know, Pride don't do that great puzzles. But anyways, they gave CT a math problem to basically solve.
Do they hate us?
They do. But before I get to that,
look at who he had to look who he had to go up against.
But before I get to that, before he even found out who he was actually going against, he asked Russell, like, so what you do to get down here? He was like, well, I didn't do much. They didn't see me as a threat. And PT basically gave Horacio a pass. Like, I'm going to give you the break that I didn't get. So he's like, I'm not going to choose you. And he went to the line of the remaining guys who were not safe. He was like, there's a lot of people I know up here. Jay, you know, you had a thing. You beat me fair and square, so you off the hook. He's like, well, there's one person I don't actually know much about, and that was Asaf. And the way that Jay's face just went just stricken. Once he said Asaf's name, he's like, well, this is what y'all get. This is what Jay. You can't play the game and not be surprised that your bestie is about to go down because of you.
And when he made that face, I'm like, if you feel that bad, then why don't you take your ass down there and defend your best friend then? Why don't you go get yourself down there and save your best friend if it's really that deep? And if I was CT, I would have asked TJ, I'd have been like, since you know I'm essentially the GOAT in this thing, can I make my own rules? Can I make this a double elimination? I'd have snatched Jay and ASAP and got them both down there and took I'd have took them both out of there.
See, now if production wanted to really stir things up, because the past couple of weeks have not gone the way that we wanted it to go, essentially when I will include when starting with Darrell, we get to Laurel, Cara, Brad, like everyone's been losing, essentially coming back, and no one's really gone home. So it's been the same old for the past couple of weeks. We all know what CT is capable of. So yeah, Asaf comes down and has to win. But I agree, like pick somebody else too to shake things up, or like make them go against each other and make the winner have to go through me or something, because it's just been 16 of y'all this whole time just doing what y'all wanted to do. So I was really happy though that it was Asaf, because like CT said, even though if he didn't know Asaf, essentially, I mean, still, once he came down though, CT was kind of impressed with Asaf's stature. He was like, you're a lot bigger than what I thought you were. Like, I don't remember you being this strong, brother, but you know what? Let's go at it. Let's just do it, because I'm CT, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because they did, because Asaf, no, he was not. I'm tripping. I forget that they did do a season together, but it was very brief because Asaf got out like real quick.
He was like one of the first and second person out on that season.
CT was on the season. CT was on Total Madness.
I think
no.
Asaf's season was Total Madness.
Yeah,
I think
he was on that season with Bailey. Yeah, he was the first one out.
Yeah, I know Asaf was. I think CT was on that season, if I remember correctly.
Because CT literally said you look bigger than before. So they did a season together, but obviously Asaf was out early. So yeah,
and he had much on that season. his impact on that season was much better than what he did in 14 episodes here. Like he was, I actually wanted him back when after watching that because he gave a little bit more to that one episode he was on, and then he didn't benefit and put any type of he didn't add any benefit to this game as to what the season is. Like he just played a safe game, and he was just boring and tried to be funny and was not.
Yeah, he definitely was Jay's lapdog this whole season. Jay and a shell, essentially. But yeah, I just feel like he brought nothing to the show. He was more entitled than what he thought he was. He carried himself with an energy and an aura that he was untouchable. And I just think that in a game like this, you cannot be walking around like you're untouchable when you just don't know what's going to happen, whether it's chaos or not. Like I thought Asaf was just, he came off a little too strong, and this is why I wanted him to go from the jump, because when he started saying that Geppetto and puppet, all that other like that was a little too much for me, and it's like, now you're doing too much. And you need to go home and be a father and get out of my face, because I don't like any of this energy that you're bringing on this show at this point. Like, you're not doing anything. You're not winning anything, but yet you feel so entitled that you feel like you're running the house. Like, that's insane to me. So CT did what needed to be done, and he chose the person. He didn't realize it, but essentially chose the person who would hurt Jay the most in leaving, and the closest person to him, which is Asaf, which is probably the best treat of it all, because CT didn't realize it. He didn't know any of this back information, but it's like the way that the challenge gods worked on this, I have to give it up. Like, that was perfection in how that ended up happening. But then they give CT a math puzzle, which is like, y'all want CT to come in here and lose? Because you gave Kara a puzzle. You know she don't do well with puzzles. You gave Laurel's OCD ass uh uh a situation where she had to freaking do things 10 times over. Darrell, I don't even know what to say about Darrell, but you were giving these people so, I don't even know what to say about that. Like, Darrell just straight up lost to Kylan. But you gave these people probably the worst of what they can do. And when you brought this concept to us, it seemed like it was going to be the best of what they can do. Like, when Jordan came in, I was like, okay, they're going to give these challenge champs something that they know that they're going to be a beast in. And so it's going to give the other people a hard time. But, and CT does good at math, though. I'm not going to front and say like he hasn't, because that season that he was with Amber, we saw him, they pulled that out too. Like, CT over the years has been good at math. So I'm not saying he's not smart in that aspect, but we want to see him do something physical, dad bod and all. Like, I want CT to come in here and carry someone on their back like a backpack. Like, that is what I want to see CT come in here and do.
And this season needed it. Same thing with Cara Maria. They should have gave her a Harborough. Same with Laura, Harborough. Even though she went up against Melissa. Did she go up against Melissa? Who she went? A Big T. That would have been anticlimactic. But if she would have went up against somebody like Olivia and laid that bitch down, that would have been a big moment that they could have literally promoted for the season. But production, I guess they gave up on the season. I don't know.
Halfway through, they were like, listen, it's whatever.
Yep. So they played a game called Mind Grind, where they had to do a math equation with brute strength. And they had to push a 250-pound wheel around a circle and into a hole at the end of it, and had to rate the partially completed equation. And they had to search through numbered tiles for missing numbers and place them in correct spots to solve the equation. And both of them, they did pretty good of like using the dreidel of ease for the most part. But what had me cracking up at one point was Asaf literally asking for help and like doing the process out loud. And then he said, "What's the prime number?" I was very confused. And I was like, you're too old to be not knowing what a prime number is.
One thing I will say is that this is gonna sound bad, but he don't give me English as his first language. He don't give me that
Right.
he was in America for a very, X amount of years, for a long time, and he knows what's what. I don't know if he went to school over here. I don't know his backstory. I simply don't even care to know. But I will say, him not knowing a prime number is not surprising. Like, he does not give me that he knows what even and odd numbers are set sometimes. Like, I'm not surprised that he did not know what that was. And I would say, like, this was the one challenge I just did not want any of them saying anything to anybody. Like, everyone loves Asaf, clearly. Oh my God, everyone's screaming for him to win. Obviously, I think partially because it's the 10K and they want that to come back. But I also think that it's CT. And so we just saw Kylan beat Brad. So now all of a sudden we want Asaf is not on that level. But okay, I see why y'all yelling for him. But I'm not surprised that he doesn't know what a prime number, like, that didn't shock me. What I did think is funny is how he was trying to solve the problem and then everyone else was trying to help him in the background. And they're like, well, this has to be, divisible by 3. And he's just like, what? Like, he is so clueless on anything. Like, he don't know anything. And I mean, watching him go through that process of elimination and, deduction and trying to decide, like, what's the equation, I just thought it was great. Like, it was just the downfall of Asaf, and I really just was like enjoying that to the point where I was just like, CT, hurry up and finish this, because I know you can do this. It's not that hard. Like, just get it together. But CT was there for a little minute more than I thought he should have been. But he was there for a little minute trying to figure it out. He didn't want to get it wrong, which I could respect, because I feel like sometimes, even as a champ coming back in the house, they kind of rush things a little bit and get a little too far ahead of themselves. And then it's a check and it's incorrect. So I thought that him taking his time and kind of gathering himself and then really, like, just honing in on the problem, it just helped him in the long run. And then once he got his check, the sigh of relief was it weighed so much on me. I was so happy to see Asaf go home. Oh
Me
my,
too.
oh,
It was beautiful. It was one of the. I enjoyed watching him just. It sounds so wrong, but I enjoy watching him just deteriorate that whole elimination. You could just see him going down and down. You could see the fact that he was about to lose, and then when he lost, I was just so excited because you see all them up there crying, and I was just happy. I was eating it up.
It's like them all crying and us, it's like as the viewers just looking like, what y'all crying for?
we're
Like
cheering.
this band
Like,
aid.
we're all
Right,
cheering and you guys are crying.
Jay, I'm ready for him next.
And Jay for strawberries. That's so happy cracking up. But I was like, bro, like, get out your feelings. I get that's your dude, but come on.
Norris had nothing to do with Asaf going home. Like, Asaf, essentially, no one even could have known that Asaf was going in to begin with. So it is what it is at the end of the day. It was just the luck of the cards that was pulled. His was pulled and it was played, and he went home. That's it. So I mean, I really did enjoy, though, Jay breaking down, crying, like half the cast crying. I mean, I get that Asaf had touched so many people, I guess, and he was, so great, but on TV he sucked. So I'm glad he left. Like, y'all call him when he get home. He gonna be home right there waiting in the corner in his little music closet. Y'all call him then. But as of now, get off the show. Go home.
Just speaking of that music, both of them keep
We
that
need to
shit where it's at. Do not ever release don't release none of that shit. Don't post it on social media. Don't know it's rapping and
oh.
shit like Drake. I mean not Drake, Jay. Like what is he talking about? What is he trying to do? That shit that I saw, I don't know where I saw it. It might have been on Twitter, but I'm like, let's not do that.
Ever.
No. Well, next week starts Conquest. That's gonna be fun. see how things are still in shambles from this week. And I obviously CT mentioned that I guess 40 is coming, so we'll hope to see good people on that.
Let's hope to see All Stars first before we see 40.
Okay, that's what I'm ready
Yeah.
for. I just know, and then like I said, with them pushing this back so far, I want to hope that this all was strategic as to why we haven't gotten it because it's that good. But is it going to be? Because I saw something online that said it's going to be on MTV. I hope it's not on MTV because I love that it was on Paramount Plus where it's uncensored.
Yeah, I need the
Yeah.
uncensored on Paramount. I don't need it to be watered down on MTV. And I want to hear them cursing. I want to hear all of the energy that was there. I need that to be on Paramount. So please do not let that be on MTV because although they can use the ratings and the episode watchings and those viewerships, please keep the integrity of All Stars because we know it's going to be a good season. I need it to be on Paramount.
Yeah.
But that cast,
So
yeah.
yeah, because I was like Ayana with Cam. That's a dynamic that I want to see.
Cam coming back,
That's
period. That's a big draw.
and
then Cara
Cara,
Maria, that's her.
Laurel.
That's yeah. I was gonna say that's her. That's Cara's return season too. So that's a big season. And then we see because Word on the Curb is Cara Maria and Cam were against each other, and then there was like Laurel and Cam as the duo, which is interesting because the way they ended the last season, they played together. There's a lot of storylines that we know we got coming there that the one that we watching right now and talking about don't have. Like that's what we ready to see. We ready to see All Stars. That's what we ready to see.
Exactly.
Yep. So hopefully. So we're gonna get into some of these tweets from this episode. There are a lot that I bookmarked, but I just chose 4 of my favorites out of those. First one, they don't play when it comes to their submissive boyfriends. Photos attached of Nerese and Bailey.
That's shady.
There's a difference.
Shout out to Bailey for
There's
having her baby.
I was gonna say, there's a difference too. Bailey is actually about it like that. Nerese wants to be about it like that. Bailey is actually crazy. Nerese is not. Nerese want to be crazy.
But she has a case on her, Grant. Remember, she went to anger
Please,
management.
I need to see the documents. I need to see the documents because I don't know who she thinks she. I'm on probation for almost. Did she say she hit somebody or threatened to hit somebody?
Yeah, for chill.
Love taps.
Whatever.
Love taps. Let's see the paperwork.
Yeah. Asaf, I'm the new generation of the challenge. Also, Asaf, what's a prime number?
Asaf, like I said, Asaf is delusional at best. And this whole new generation conversation, it kept happening this episode and this season, essentially. You cannot be a new generation and be 37. Like, that's not how generations work. I don't know what planet you guys are from or what world you live in, but you can't be a new generation of anything if you're like 33. Like, please. It's not happening. You're not the new generation. You're not going to take over the challenge and somehow be what the show will get canceled. I promise
That's what
you
I was
that.
about to say. They will never see as many seasons as the rest of the other ones have because if they keep casting the way they're casting here, we probably won't see the show past 42, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, there's this one tweet that I didn't put in the thread, but I bookmarked it because a real world person, someone we've seen on All Stars, Derek Chavez, who's been locked into the season, he tweeted, "Ooh, I can't wait to see tonight's episode of Challenge 39. Girl, buy yourself." Haha, and use the Nini buy gift. I just wanted to say that because Derek has been on Asaf's neck the whole time he's been watching this season.
Well, welcome to the party, Derek.
And he's on All Stars 4 too, right?
He was on 3.
I feel like
he was on 3.
But I feel like
that
he
was
on
the
4
recently
too.
we saw him.
Really? Is he not on 4 too?
I don't think so.
I don't know the full cast. I just
Really?
know Kara and Cam. And
Yeah.
We'll see though.
Yeah. And
We'll see.
the next tweet, where'd it go? Sorry. I'm really not understanding why is it always Kai and Horacio who need to go? Is Ed not a threat to these people? Why is it always these two? I get it. They're not part of your whack-ass alliance, but does Jay think he has a shot of winning against the other guys? No.
It's a good question. James is probably the only one that you could probably say, yeah, I can beat him in the final. But Jay ain't. He ain't no threat.
And Corey. You can keep Corey and like beat him.
Yeah, we'll see. I ain't seen enough of Corey to really be able to tell if he gonna be that great in the final. I don't know, but we gonna see.
Not having a hall brawl or pro wrestle for TT is so lame, but Asaf going home and Jay crying totally makes up for it.
that's facts. That is facts. We didn't really get in any of those. Like we got the pole wrestle with who was it? Huhui and whoever that was she went up against. I don't
Raven.
remember.
Big T. Oh,
Raven. It was Raven.
Oh, it was Big T?
Was it?
They did
Who
because
was
they
it?
did Big T in early.
No, she
I
probably
think it was
beat
Raven that sent her home.
Yeah, I think it
Big
was
T
Raven. But Big T didn't go in early
Big T
though.
sent. Who did Big T
Big
send?
T-
She
sent
sent
on
Jessica
Jessica.
home. She sent
Jessica.
Jessica home, and then she sent
Yeah, the
Cass
girl with
home.
tattoos.
Yeah, but it was Raven.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't really get to see like much of our good and faithful freaking eliminations that we usually do, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Right.
And like the eliminations they gave us this season were not that great either. So them thinking out the box does not help. It has not helped us at all. The last tweet, be upset maybe, but crying. I've seen cast members who have done seasons together for 10 years not cry when one of them goes home. Because
earlier.
The uncle went home though. Like someone's uncle of a person went home. So they had to cry. It's family, Megan. Like they have to cry.
Insane. Ain't nobody, and they ain't even blood. They ain't even no blood uncle. Like, please.
Yo. That's the funniest part. It's like y'all are so freaking insane that y'all really think like y'all crying tears over Asaf. And y'all barely know Asaf. Where do y'all know him from? Except for Jay. Where do y'all know him from that y'all crying like this? Like, please.
Exactly.
They acted like that man died. Like, this is not Dan's funeral. This is like, stop. It just confused me still. I'm like, y'all gonna see him in a couple months. It's okay. Like, that man wasn't moving the needle for nothing. Y'all could have kept that.
I just don't understand the concept of crying over somebody going home and you still being there and getting closer to money. I don't understand that. I don't.
Like Jay was the only person that I enjoyed crying because I knew it came from a place where he was really hurt that Asaf went home. But everyone else crying literally threw me for a loop. Like I did not see that coming. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is everyone crying? Raven had posted like, oh, she was emotional because Asaf had spoke to her, and prayed for her father. And that's all great, fine and dandy. God bless. But what does that mean? Like, what does that do for any of us? Like, we don't care. Why are you even crying, girl? Get up. Get up.
But yeah, those are all the tweets from this week's episode that I found worthy for this episode. So yeah.
We
also
are...
wait, really quick. Congratulations to Cyrus for expecting him and his partner are expecting a child. I just wanted to give that a shout.
Shout out.
No shade, but why?
Random. It
was so random as hell.
Like, where's Cyrus been? When is the last time we saw Cyrus? All Stars 2?
It's season 2.
Yeah.
under
No,
Beth.
yeah. But I
All right,
just
you know
saw him.
what?
I was like, oh, congrats.
Let's go with
I
it.
thought something else random. In here. If y'all ain't following Naya on Instagram, go follow her. She's doing like this little series of like her going to restaurants, trying out people's food. You want to talk about? I'm a foodie, so I like watching people eat. So if you want to go watch it because they entertaining. Naya's good. Naya need to start like a food channel or a food show.
Not her trying to be Keith Lee. Let me
She'd be good because shoot, Naya. I feel like that's the thing too. If Naya come back, I hope Naya comes back as Naya that we know, because the Naya that came back here.
I don't think we will.
Mm-mm.
I think she's gone, and that's probably what's more hurtful. I know people grow and change, and they become better people, and you learn from your
I
lessons.
know.
But when I
But
seen
she
her
came
back
back.
with Jordan, I knew she was lost forever. I knew my good sister was lost.
That's
When she
real.
came back being with Jordan and having relations with Jordan and being so touchy-feely, she was
so
crying
hard
when
to
he got
watch.
eliminated. That's when I knew my good sister was lost forever. And
That was so hard to watch. And then she was like non-existent on World Championship. I'm like, where's the Naya that I know?
she's gone, babe. She's gone. We only have the Portland rewatches that takes us back to the good old days. So
I will watch that
if
relentlessly.
you guys have Netflix, please go back and watch that Portland season to know and love the Naya that we speak of, because she came in from day one when she picked up the phone call and had that country accent and decided to just stir up true chaos in that house.
From like, wait, what was it? Episode 4 where she came in. Watch episode 4 all the way to the end. One of the
It was
best
truly magical
reality TV debuts you're ever gonna see. Good time.
I just, yeah. Well, that was interesting. That threw me for a loop, you guys. Thank you so much for listening, guys. If you would like to follow us on Twitter, you can at Duel Alliance Pod. You can follow Megan at Megan Hines. You can follow Grant at Looking for G. We are going to put all of his information in the description box below. You can follow him, watch him on YouTube. He does reviews of other shows. So if you guys enjoy him here, I'm pretty sure you would enjoy his content. And if you are listening, you can watch us on YouTube at Duel Alliance Podcast. We post about every week, Thursday or Fridays. So check us out. Please subscribe, comment, do all that other stuff. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week to discuss more of the challenge, season 39. Have a great week. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.